Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome back to DJ's Workshop. All right, today we're going to be working on the Eurovan. We're going to be putting a couple of spacers in the suspension. What I want to do is I want to lift the van up a little bit, just so when we go camping, there's a little bit more clearance for the off-road adventures. So what we're going to do is I got a couple of spacers here from Go Westy. The part number on these is 7D0511147A. All right, and these are spacers that sit on top of the rear shock mount. So you don't put it right on the coil spring. So you have a mount on there already. The coil spring is here. There's a mount that goes to the body. These are going to go above, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put two of these on the left side, driver's side, and one of these on the passenger side. And the reason I'm doing that, the vans will naturally tend to lean a little bit more towards the left because that's where the propane tank is, the water tank, all the weight on the vehicle with the stove and the sink and everything is on the driver's side, so it tends to lean a little bit that way. So we're going to double up on the driver's side, lift it up a little bit more, and a little bit on the passenger side. Once I'm done with that, then I'm going to send it down to the alignment shop and I'm going to have them adjust the front torsion bars. You want to have the front end slightly lower than the back end. I think it's maybe like a half an inch or an inch lower. You don't want to have it level. I guess it messes with the ABS system. So we're going to have them set the torsion bars, get everything all nice and level for us, get the van up a little bit higher. We are planning on going camping in a few weeks, so I want to have this thing all ready to go. All right, so let's get the van in here and I'll show you what's involved. Stay tuned. Alright, first thing we're going to do is we're going to crack these lugs loose so we can get these wheels off. Okay, we're going to get the back of the van lifted up. And we want to make sure we chock the front wheels to keep the van from rolling. So let me get those chocked, we'll get this lifted up, and we'll get this wheel off. Alright, so you may have seen in my recent videos, I did a bunch of work to the suspension, so you can see we got all new brakes back here, we get new shocks. So what we're going to do is we have to take the bolt out of the bottom of the shock, and then we're going to drop down the control arm, pull the spring out, and then put those two spacers up on the top there. Alright, so I guess the first step is going to be to get a little bit of support under this control arm just so it doesn't drop dramatically when I take that bolt out. So we'll get another jack up under there, and then we'll get that bolt out of there. Okay, so you're going to take that bolt out. It's actually a 5/8 bolt on this one. You drop down the washer and the rubber bushing. Okay, so now that shock is free in there. So now we should be able to drop down this control arm. Okay. Now you can see the shock is free, and we have the spring right here, which comes out like that. Okay, so now we have the spring out. Alright, so there is a mount up on the top here. I'm going to take that mount out, and this has obviously a groove that fits right in to the spring like that. Okay, so we're going to take the two, well, this side, we're doing the passenger side, we're going to put one spacer on there. Okay, so this spacer is going to fit right on top like that, and that's going to give it that little bit of extra lift. Alright, so we're going to take the spring, we're going to put it back in here. And like I say, you want to make sure that this is seating properly. Okay, you turn it until you feel it kind of drop in place, and then it kind of locks in there, so you know you're good. So it's going to go like that. Slip this back up in here. Okay, and then seat it right back on the perch down the bottom. Okay, we're going to push this shock back over kind of where it goes and then slowly jack this up a little bit. Make sure that everything is seated properly. Make sure that shock's lined back up with the hole. Okay, once that's in there, we're going to take our bolt, put it back in here. Okay, so now you can see up on the top of the spring is where the spacers go, okay? And then you just want to make sure it's seated properly on the bottom. Put that screw back in the shock, and that's pretty much it. So this side's all set. We're going to swing around to the other side now and take care of that one. Okay, we got this wheel off. We got the jack holding the van. We got the other jack holding the control arm. Let's see if we can get this nut off of here. Okay, got the screw, we got the flat washer. Alright, then we're going to let the control arm down. Loose. Now this arm for some reason didn't drop down like the other side did. Not quite sure why. So it might be a little bit more difficult getting this one out. Alright, we're probably going to have to use some kind of pry bar or something to pull down on this just to get this spring free. It is loose, but it's not down enough that we can get this out of here. Okay, so the reason this arm wasn't dropping all the way is because when I had the jack on here, I actually had it on the control arm and was holding the arm up. So I had to put the wheel back on and lower the jack down and then move this back a little bit so that the arm could swing. And now you can see it came down plenty. That's out of the way. Spring's all loose, so let's get that one out of here. Okay, we get that top mount out. Make sure that's sitting on there properly, and we're going to put the other two up in there. Okay, so this one we're going to double up. Okay, we're going to put two of them on the top here. So we'll stick these up in here. And again, we're going to make sure everything's lined up properly. Okay, so we got the spring in there, we got the two spacers, we got the mount on the top positioned correctly. And now we're going to have to lift this back up. We're going to have to hold this shock out of the way while we do that. Okay, make sure it's lined up with the hole. Alright, once the shock is seated, we'll take the bolt, the bushing, and the washer. Slip this back on here. Get that started. Okay, you want to leave some support under that control arm. It's just going to make it easier for that bolt to go back in. Alright, drop this down. Okay, now we got the two spacers on this side. And it's all set. We'll get this bolted back up here. Alright, so let me get this wheel back on, then I'll get it outside and you can see, I don't know if you're going to see much of a difference in the height, but let's get it outside and we'll see. Okay, when you put your wheels back on, you want to make sure you torque them down to 118 foot-pounds. Alright, now you can already see there's quite a bit of difference here, which is nice. So got a little bit of a lift going on there. So let me get it outside and we'll see the full view of it. Okay, so we definitely have a little bit of extra lift there now. Next thing is I got to send it off to the alignment shop now so they can raise the front end just a little bit. It's probably not going to have to go up much. But when we send it off, what we want to do is we want to make sure you have at least a half a tank of gas. Make sure your propane tank is at least half full, and make sure your water tank is at least half full. That way you get a bunch of weight in there to compensate, so they know how to align it properly. Alright guys, so that's what's involved. I think that's going to be a big help because it was definitely kind of close to the fender there. We definitely got more room here now, which is good. That way when we go camping, I don't have to worry so much about bottoming out or anything like that. So yeah, if you're thinking about doing that, it's not that big a deal. Just go on to Go Westy and you can get the spacers. Like I say, you're going to put one on the right side, passenger side, and then two on the left side, and that's going to kind of balance it out with all the weight that you get on the left side there. Alright, so it's not too big a deal. You guys can do it. I did it in probably less than 2 hours. Just an easy project to do, but I think it's going to be very beneficial. Alright, so that's about it. Hope you guys liked the video. If you do, give a thumbs up, a share, a like. Stay tuned for more videos, and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.